Come get ready with me while I get into my Rosamund cosplay for the very first time. I've already done my skin prep, so we are going to start out with some foundation. I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me in shade 105. Just putting a little bit on the back of my hands. And I'm going to take a damp beauty blender and try to cover this up. Now that our base is looking a little more even, I'm going to follow it up with some concealer on my acne spots and also some of my acne scars and anywhere where I have some redness that I want to cover. I'm not going to make it look perfect because we are going to be adding some of that back in later, spoiler alert, but I'm going to try and cover up the ones that I really don't want to be there. Next up, I'm going to go in with a concealer that is a few shades too light for me, and I'm going to put it anywhere that I want to kind of highlight and brighten. Next, I'm going to add some cream blush in some of the places that I want to give like a more luminescent and rosy glow underneath the skin before I powder. I'm also going to be taking this across the eyes to sort of give the beginnings of what will become the eyeshadow look. I'm just going to blend that out with my fingers so that I can have a bit more precision. On top of that, I'm going to do a pretty solid layer of powder so that none of this moves around as we continue on with the makeup. Okay, the next step so that I can start feeling grounded in where my makeup is going is my brows. Now, for the Rosamund wig that I have, it's pretty pale blonde, as is in her character art, but I don't like doing really pale blonde eyebrows on myself because I feel like I lose some of my ability to express emotion in my videos. So I'm gonna do sort of like a medium brown. I have, what color is this? A honey brown pencil. I'm gonna start with that. It is slightly lighter than my natural brow hairs, so my natural brow hairs will look a little dark against this, but this will be my base. And then I have one shade darker that I made add in, as extra hairs. So at best we're gonna have something that looks kind of my natural brow color but more filled in. That's about as blonde as I like making my brows. Alright, they're not perfect, but brows are honestly my weak spot when it comes to makeup, and this is as good as they're gonna get. They're not twins, they're not sisters, they're barely cousins, but it's fine. So next up, I'm going to, I think, start working on a eyeshadow slash blush combination. I want her to have kind of a delicate pinky kind of color. I do want it to look beautiful. I might add a little bit of shimmer in there, but I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna go for at the moment. I just want something that's definitely like not super bright and obnoxious, but also is there and you can see it and looks kind of delicate and princessy. Okay, to explain what I just did, I started with this kind of like bubblegummy pink color from this e.l.f. blush palette, and then I sort of built it up with this sort of like watermelon pink color from, this is like my main palette because it has 18 million colors that I use, especially for my body paint cosplays, and it is this Meet Your Match Colorboard Beauty Glazed palette. I don't know, I found it on Amazon. It was not super expensive and the colors are super pigmented. But yeah, up here there's this like kind of watermelon-y color right here. I used that, and then I deepened it up with, I swear I don't own that many palettes. I own like 3 and I'm using all of them. I have the LA Girl Nudist palette, and it's got this kind of like bricky brown color. It's a brown with like a red undertone, and I like deepened up the crease and both edges with that, and then I topped it off with, again from this palette, this like pearlescent white color up here in the corner. What I will say is you do not need to use these palettes to kind of follow this. I just started, honestly, that middle watermelon-y color was just kind of a transition color. If you have good shadows, you can probably go straight from the bubblegum pink to like a bricky brown, and then add any kind of like white shimmer on top, and that's all you need. The last thing is I'm going to kind of follow my lash line with the really dark brown, this one right here from this same palette. Any kind of dark brown is fine. It's just a really, it's almost black, but it's not. And I'm gonna just go along my my like lash line across the top. And I brought the eyeshadow down underneath my eye a little bit, as I always do. I feel like it looks better. Looks a little like a lot right now, but it'll get toned down once I have like liner and lashes and everything else. But I'm going to also, after I add the brown, go back into this bubblegum pink blush and kind of add to all the areas that I did the cream blush earlier. and then we'll see how it looks. I'm gonna take that same shimmer, that white shimmer that I used on my lid and in my inner corner to do the other high points of the face, just to add some like delicateness. Next up, I'm going to curl my lashes and then add false lashes. I am terrible at adding false lashes, so fingers crossed I don't mess everything up. Okay, it's not perfect, but I think once I add mascara, it'll be passable. We'll see once I do the other side. All right, both of those could have been placed closer to the lash line. Let's see what it looks like with mascara on. I'm gonna add a little bit of black liner on where the clear band is and see if I can blend this even better. All right. Not perfect, but better. I swear I know what I'm doing, but something goes wrong every time. I'm going to tightline with this dark brown to kind of keep up with the dark brown that I had going on before we added the black. I'm gonna leave the bottom open, but I am gonna add a little bit of mascara on the bottom. Lastly, I'm gonna do what I always do for lips, or often do for lips, which is very simply take some chapstick, put it where it needs to go, and then I'm going to take just a little bit, because I want it to be on the subtle side, of that bubblegum pink color that we used for blush, and add it across the top. And I have a little bit of foundation still on my lips, so it will probably mix with that into something that is a little bit more neutral, but still in the same color family. That's exactly what we want. Perfect. Princessy pink lips. Okay. I'm going to be doing something that I've only done in a small test patch and I've never done in like a large quantity, and that is going to be fake scars. Some of my other cosplays I've done like your more classic, like using concealer or white eyeliner to do a more cartoony looking scar, but this time around we're going to be using rigid collodion and makeup underneath that to try and give that actual scar-like puckering effect. Here's hoping it turns out awesome. I'm gonna start by taking a little bit of that really bright concealer on the back of my hand, because at least for me, the scars that I actually have, they come back just a little bit whiter than my own skin tone. Now we're gonna be amping it up, but I'm gonna use this as a base for figuring out the placement of where I wanna put the scars, because I have a loose idea, but I need to actually get them mapped out properly first. All right, I tried to keep some of them kind of going in a similar pattern, almost like the vines and thorns have wrapped in a certain direction, but then I also wanted the ones specifically around the mouth because obviously she wakes up choking on them. So this is what we've got. We'll see how it looks in the end, but after the concealer has set a little bit, I'm gonna go back in with a pinker shade. I'm not sure yet. I don't want something bubblegummy pink. I want something more like angry skin pink. So something a little bit more red underneath. I'm going to go in with a few tones, add some depth here and there, and kind of just maybe even add a little purple here and there, but something to make it look like kind of angry scars as opposed to like delicate scars. Okay, so to be honest, I could probably just leave it here because they look pretty cool as is, but we're gonna try adding the rigid collodion. I'm gonna guess I'm gonna want probably like 5 to 8 layers, but I'm gonna kind of play it by ear because you have to let each area dry. So I'm gonna kind of go from one side of my face to the other. Hopefully by the time I get to the end, the dry time is close to done, and then I can just keep going. And we'll check back in when it is done. I will admit, I used more of this than I thought I would. This bottle was basically full outside of the test swatch I had done, and it's now down to here where my nail is. So I used about 2/3 of this bottle. I lost count on a couple spots, but I did do roughly like probably the 5 to 8 layers that I was talking about. As I realized I was running out of this, I started sort of, my later layers were focusing in the dark spots so that those felt like they were the deepest, and less so in the lighter spots. I will admit that these are a lot of scars, and so it is pulling very tight on my face when I'm trying to make expressions and things. They may start cracking later when I'm filming, but I've only got a couple hours of filming to do. It's not like all day at a con, so I should hopefully be okay. The ones on my neck honestly do bother me a little bit. They're pretty tight. It's hard to stretch, but it's not so bad that I can't talk or can't breathe. It's just a little uncomfortable, like wearing a choker necklace. So I should be fine, especially because it doesn't go all the way around. As you can see, I only did the front bit. So they're a little shiny from the Rigid Colonian, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit more powder over the top of them to kind of take down some of the shine, and then we'll see how it all looks. All right, powder's on, and with that, my Rosamund makeup is done. I need to go ahead and get my dress on, my wig on. All of that needs minimal styling, and I will show you what it looks like when it is all complete. Here's the finished look. This dress, which you'll be able to see in the vertical shots in a sec, is beautiful for the quality that I got. Like, yes, I could probably have a much nicer dress. This dress was like 40 bucks, and so I'm happy with cost, you know? I'm using the headpiece that I used in my Deloso de la Rue cosplay. This wig is new because I didn't have a platinum blonde wig that was appropriate. Honestly, I probably would have done a different hairstyle, but what I didn't realize in my try-on that I realized when I was putting this on for the official time is that it's really sparse. It is a lace front, but it's really sparse in hair right here, and you could see the delineation between my skin and my wig cap. So I went ahead and did a sort of pulled back look and pinned back with the crown to kind of hide that. I wish it wasn't like that and I could have done a side part like she has, but good enough for a first time. I went ahead and like wrapped some roses around my arms and things. I have a whole second string to work with in terms of as a prop, but I wanted to have the roses in view, and I think all in all, turned out pretty good. I'm already seeing room for improvement. The next time that I cosplay her, a lot of that has to do with this freaking wig and then maybe replacing the dress at some point. But for a first time budget build, I'm happy, and I'm happy with the way the makeup turned out. One thing that I hadn't realized, because I've never used this much Rigid Collodion before, is that in parts that move a lot, it will actually crack. Hopefully it's not super noticeable, but there are definitely parts, especially on my neck, that are cracking and starting to peel a little bit from just moving around and getting into the dress and stuff. So that's very frustrating. Because I didn't know that would happen, but it is what it is. All in all, I give it a 7 out of 10, which for me, you know, that's pretty positive. So, flyaways. Let me know what you think. Let me know about what you think about the makeup, places for improvement, and check out my TikTok and my Instagram if you want to see cool content using this cosplay.